guys, welcome into another episode of the Queen City Soccer Show. I am your host, Cole Godfrey, joined as always by my co-host, Level Up Luke. Luke, how you feeling, man?
Cool. I am recovering from a sinus infection. I feel like it's always something over here, but welcome to the international break for Charlotte FC and MLS, which means we still have games. How crazy is that?
Yeah, I mean, which is a good thing for the fan. Not so good for teams who are losing their players. But Charlotte FC made it work, as we will get into. First things first, Luke, I want to kind of apologize to the listeners. We did have a week last week where we did not drop a reaction episode to Charlotte beating FC Cincinnati at home. Me and Luke's schedule was very wonky, and we couldn't get together. And not only that, but Luke's had some sinus stuff going on and hasn't been feeling well. So we're regrouped. We were both in Charlotte yesterday for Charlotte FC taking on San Jose. It was a great day for Charlotte FC as they come out as winners 4-1, and just an absolute battering, Luke. I mean, before the match, me and you met up at Hotfly, and I had my son with me, and you asked, what our predictions were, all that good stuff. And I'm gonna give you credit, man. You said 4-0, and you damn near almost hit the nail on the head. Other than a penalty call, which we'll get into. But I mean, you were right on. What did you see before this match to make you believe that Charlotte was going to dominate in the fashion that they did?
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about how San Jose came into this game kind of on a skid, losing two home games, and you can talk about their offense and Chucho Arango, but with missing Josef Martinez, it's going to be tough. So the offense is already down a little bit for San Jose, and their defense is shaky. It looked like a mismatch where we're a quality side, and I want to give a shout out where it's due. My opinion was informed a lot by Kevin Egan from the Apple MLS coverage. He's the Irish American host of their studio show, and he sat down with friend of the program Danny Brams for a one-on-one, and his comment on this game was it's a test to see if Charlotte FC can put an inferior team to the sword. And I heard that quote and I loved it. I was like, yes, that's what I want us to show our dominance against a team that we should be beating. And we've seen in past seasons, we can hang with anybody. We can play with the best teams in the league, but then we trip up over teams that we should be rolling over. And that's cost us crucial points that we really need in a playoff push. So, this game, this team, I feel like is different. We still have the strength of our defense, especially with that rotated attack. I was expecting more fluid play, and I just thought that would be the mismatch going into this. So I was thinking 4-0. I did say, and I told your son, there's no way they get two goals on us. One is possible because anything can happen, but there's no way they're getting more than one goal against us. So I was a lot more confident about our defense. The question, can we score four on the attack? That's where I was very pleased to see my prediction come true. Coming into this one, I think you had this as a 3-1.
Well, I kind of went back and forth before a couple of days before the game. I was thinking like a draw maybe, just because of San Jose. I didn't realize that Josef Martinez was not going to be playing and was out. Which did when I found that out, when I realized that's when I switched. I was like, okay, yeah, they're not gonna. They may get one past this defense, but they're not going to get two or three. So that's when I changed. I was like, oh, I'll go with Charlotte FC winning this thing. To be fair, if you're looking at this from an outsider's perspective, Charlotte FC comes into this match no Big Pat with the U.S. men's national team, no Tim Ream. You got a debut in Doumbia, which I want to get into at left back. You got Liel Abada, who is with Israel. So, you're going to play a rotated team or rotated side, and there were some question marks. But with that being said, man, this team come out in the first half and just absolutely eviscerated San Jose. The 11th minute, man, we'll get straight into it. I just want to say, Doumbia in that left back role was absolutely electric this match. Not necessarily defending. He did well defending, don't get me wrong. But getting forward on that left side with Wilf is just, dude, what a breath of fresh air that was. And his speed and his ability to track back and his ability to get forward. I was not expecting it, dude. And in the 11th minute, a good 1-2 with Doumbia and Zaha gets Doumbia, I mean, down into the box, and it gets put into the box, and it kind of ricochets out to Pep, and Pep with a very cool, calm finish, and yeah, I mean, Pep slots it away, and you go up 1-0 in the 11th minute, and Bank of America was rocking. Luke, how good has Pep BL been the first part of the season with another goal and 2 assists this match?
Yeah, I think you're dead on. He is a creator, he's a playmaker. His technical ability is what we need in the squad. We need that kind of creator who can play technically on the ball. And I was just thrilled by at least 2 back heels in this game. From my vantage point, I could see there was one that was maybe kind of a cheeky goal attempt and another in the field of play, but there might have been more. He is just a magician on the ball. You never know what kind of tricks he's going to pull. So, keep your eye on the misdirect, and Pepiel will get you with his, what do they call it? The Prestige. You remember that movie? It's that third act of the magic trick where Pepiel is going to get you every time. So,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm a big fan. I think that it was good business in the offseason to bring him back. Excuse me. Like I said, I'm struggling over here with this kind of like head cold sinus thing. It's
dude, I
it's
am as well, dude. My nose is running like crazy.
this pollen, man. Spring has sprung, and this pollen is killing me. So I'm on allergy medicines, but I think I'm due for another one right about now. So yeah, I was just gonna say with Pep Biel, he's doing fantastic, and geez, what else do you want, man? Leading goal contributions. He's already in the top 4 all-time Charlotte FC goal contributors, and he's only played in 16 games. I think it was really good business bringing him back in the offseason on a non-DP contract. And if he has the kind
Yeah,
of season that he could have at this rate, then I think you sign him as a DP for next season. And, we also have
yeah,
that question about Patrick Ajiman and Adilson Malanda. Are they going to be part of the roster next year? We could have a little bit more space opening up. So I think we're in a really good position with Pep. And I mean, can I just say, Edon Toklamati? Holy shit, bro.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, silky smooth on the ball.
yeah. And I mean, obviously, this is Toklamati's first start for Charlotte FC with Big Pat being gone, and comes out with an assist. He was very dangerous. The one thing I like about Toklamati, man, is his willingness to do the dirty work as a 9 and to get in there and defensively try to make something happen, turn the ball over in a dangerous area, to be able to spring these attacks. And but touching on Pep back on Pep for a second, obviously, like I said a minute ago, a goal and 2 assists this match. Foot Mob's got him at a 9.1. Should definitely be team of the match day for MLS. If he's not, then we riot. It's so pleasantly surprised with Pep. Last season he was decent for Charlotte. He was still trying to see where he fit in this team. Dean was trying to see where he fit with this team, and dude, in that 10 role, we were talking about when we had the Charlotte Soccer Show guys on for our season preview. We were talking about the 10. It would Zoran go out and get a DP number 10. Bro, you got one. It seems like at this point, and obviously we're real early in the season, but if Pep can continue this, you got to re-sign him. Obviously, he's only here for the first half of this season, so you got to get him signed, and I'm sure Zoran knows that. I mean, but dude, it just absolutely phenomenal performance from Pep once again. Obviously, the player of the season so far for Charlotte. Charlotte was not done in the first half, Luke. You had Ashley Westwood, the captain,
Yes,
get him a
sir.
goal. Kerwin Vargas looked really, really good this match.
Yep.
He comes down. He, and the ball, again, it's another one of those little like goal mouth scramble type things. It falls to Toklamati. Toklamati with really, really good vision and just a perfect touch on the little lob pass in the box to find Ashley, and Ashley just slots it home, and you're up 2-0, man. What did you see on that goal? I think a lot of it for me Toklamati made that. I mean, obviously the assist and just the calm and the awareness to find Ashley and the skill to pull that off for Ashley. Not a, and not an easy finish for Ashley. He brings it down and slots it home as beautiful as you can do it. And so, what did you see in the 36th minute when Ashley scored that goal?
Yeah. So first of all, always great for the captain, Ashley Westwood, midfielder, to get a goal contribution, let alone scoring one. I think it's the kind of thing he expects to do once, maybe twice a season. And after the game, I don't think I could sum it up better than Dean Smith, who said Ashley must have had a nosebleed playing that far up on the pitch, which just a great line. Love the gaffer, great sense of humor. And Ashley Westwood, when he heard that comment, kind of echoed it back and said he had no idea what he was doing that far up the pitch to begin with. He just got lucky, was in the right place at the right time to catch that rebound. But yeah, it's just that one wasn't the rebound. Sorry, that was Pep Biel's goal. That was the rebound. But yeah, Ashley was just in the right place, receiving that pass from Toklamati, and great control on the ball is what I noticed. Like that when the ball comes in, he just kind of one touches it down into a shooting position and blasts it. But it was kind of on a bounce, and that's kind of hard to corral. And he had a split second there where there was no pressure, and that's all he needed to take advantage and slot it home, just the way we drew it up, right?
Yeah, 4 minutes later, an absolute amazing assist from Pep Biel. Just the vision and the skill to pull that off to Brant Bronico, who just a little chip over the keeper, and then on the volley just rolls it into the net. Takes the shirt off, does the baby celebration, new dad, and obviously gets a yellow card for the celebration, but he won't care. I mean, and you're up 3-0 right at the cusp of halftime, and it's just obviously the game's over. But dude, electric atmosphere. I'm usually sitting in the press box, so I don't get to experience the full atmosphere a lot. Being down in the seats for this game, a great game to be down in the seats for because the weather was beautiful, and Charlotte just absolutely full throttle just put the pedal to the metal on San Jose in that first half.
Absolutely. And I kind of took your spot up there in the press box for this game. Not something I want to make a frequent habit out of, but it's good to show my face up there once in a while and network and make some connections. So I was watching the game with Logan from the Crown Cast, and as that play was developing, and Bronico had the ball, and you see the keeper just kind of alone on an island. It was a solid like 3 paces before I start going, chip him, 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 and Bronico finally chipped him, and I was just like, yes, let's go. Savvy veteran play. My feedback on Brant has always been like, there's nobody on the pitch who wants to score as much as Brant Bronico. And when he gets the ball and he sees the net, his eyes just get big as saucers, and he is so excited that he overthinks things. He takes too many touches. I think you and I both know as a finisher, if it's instinctual and fast and clean, those are the best shots. When you have the time to overthink it, it becomes a lot more difficult. And
Yeah.
Bronico played that just brilliantly, got the ball just over the keeper, takes the second touch, calm as you like, just slots it right in the back of the net, easy pass. And I mean, what else do you want? Brant Bronico, no one wants to score more than him. He does the kick comes off, it's out in the stands somewhere. You love to see it. He does the rock the baby celebration, and we're off to the races 3-0. And somebody said, one of the accounts said, there's nothing I like more than an Ashley Westwood goal. And I saw it afterwards, and I just want to repost and be like, man, nothing except maybe a Brant Bronico goal, because those are
Yeah.
two of the sweetest things you can see as an FC fan.
Yeah, and I mean, again, big ups to Brant. It was a good game from him. Um, and then go into halftime, you're up 3-0. Felt like the game was over, Luke. I didn't see San Jose scoring 3 goals for sure. But then you come out in the second half, and Pep gets another assist on a ball to Kerwin, where he takes in and just absolutely outpaces their left back and comes down and a good shot and just beats the keeper to the far post, and Kerwin Vargas is doing his flips, and you're up 4-0. And I'm like, I looked at my son and I was like, look, man. He looked at me actually. It was like, Luke called it. Luke called it. So up 4-0, up 4-0 in the 52nd minute. It was ball game. It was just all celebration from there. What'd you see specifically on that goal, Luke? But also, what did you see from Kerwin in this match? He hasn't been starting, obviously. He's been coming in off the bench, and he's not been, his usual self. But how did you see Kerwin's performance this match?
Yeah, so I've said it before, I'll say it again. I love his combo play with Nathan Byrne, and it's fine on the other side, but with the new left back, I think things are going to be changing a little bit. So we'll get into that. But with Kerwin, I do like that he combines on the overlap play. He gets back to overlap on defense. He allows Byrne to get forward and overlap on offense. I think we saw a lot of that. Their movements feel like it's really good chemistry. It functions well together. Now, an issue is that they both struggle with accurate crossing. So no matter who's
Yeah,
overlapping and who's where, the crosses are a little bit of a concern. But with Vargas, I thought he had three big opportunities in front of goal. The first one rebounded back for a Charlotte putback for a goal. The second one he scored, and it was a good, wide angle on the keeper right into the side net. So love to see it. The third opportunity, I think he really should have scored, and we could have been up 5-0 or 5-1 at that point, but Kerwin did not put that one away. So really, he scored on one out of three big opportunities. I think he's still showing that he has offensive production. I don't see him at a starting level right now, but I think it's good that
yeah,
we have him as a rotation player because our depth is going to be essential this season with the Open Cup, the Leagues Cup, and just the grind of the league schedule. We're looking at playing over 40 games. We're going to need Kerwin Vargas to show up and be productive. So
yeah.
you had told me the other week that he was leading the team in shots on target at one
Yep.
point here recently. So that may not have changed. I haven't looked at the numbers, but
No,
he had another
I'll go
three
ahead.
big
I'll go ahead and
opportunities.
tell you. I'll go ahead and tell you, Luke. He, as of coming out of this game, he's still leading Charlotte FC with 1.5 shots on target per game. So
Yeah, I mean, so he had at least two in that San Jose game, and one of them was blocked. He had another good opportunity off target, but he'll be
yeah,
productive. It's just not the level of production you need from a starter, like a first team starter. But having him as the rotation guy, I love it. And with Toklomati, I think we can talk about him now. I would rather see Toklomati starting than Abada. And if you're trying to compare Toklomati and Ajaman, I think that's apples and oranges because they're just two completely different players. But depending on the matchup, there are some teams where that matchup with Toklomati could look more attractive than Ajaman. So having him at a higher rotation for playing time, I would like to see that.
yeah, and I mean it's something to think about. Definitely in a game kind of like where Charlotte went down to Miami, which we don't have to rehash, but a game like that where you could have Toklamati and Big Pat on at the same time. I just don't think Dean's going to do it, man. I don't know why. I don't think he is, and I'm a big fan of Toklamati. I think that every time it's very similar to Brandon Cambridge a couple years ago when Brandon would come on and the game would just change. And I think Toklamati has that X factor and that workhorse up front that and the willingness, like I talked about earlier, the willingness to off the ball make the runs, to on the ball be physical, and then defensively also be physical and have great awareness for a young guy. Man, he's absolutely impressed me. So I'm not I'm not willing to take out Big Pat, and like you said, they're two completely different styles of nines. I think if we can unlock Zaha and a Fabata can be consistent. He did score a goal in his last match. If he can be consistent with the way we play and those through balls behind the Pat, I think Look, this team is set. They're second. They're second in the East right now, and that's where they're going to be around this season, in my opinion. They're going to be in that race. So, but trudging right along, Luke, in the 74th minute, Andrew Privet is 1-on-1 and gets called for a penalty, and not only a penalty, but a red card. And they go to VAR. It was upheld. Dean Smith made his view very clear in the post game, where he said, it wasn't a foul nor a red card. Somebody in VAR thought the same thing. Had the ref go over and check. The ref stayed with his decision. Look, I'll give you my opinion first, and I put this on Twitter. I don't think it was a red card, just point blank period. I don't think there was enough in it to be a red card. He was going away from goal. He wasn't going towards goal. But with that being said, is it a foul if it's outside of the box? Probably. And therefore, it's probably a foul inside the box. With that being said, though, Luke, I don't think Andrew had to do it. You're up 4-0. Let Christian Kalina, the reigning goalkeeper of the year, make a save. I hate to see it because we're going to miss Andrew when we go to Colorado this coming weekend, a place where Charlotte has historically struggled. So I want to see. I hate to see this. I don't think it was a red card. I don't know. You know how appeals are with MLS. It usually don't go your way. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about Dean Smith appealing the red card, but we'll
Yeah, I don't
see.
see that
I would
happening.
not. Yeah, I would not expect to see Andrew Privet in Colorado. My opinion, probably going to see Tim Ream at center back and Dumia out left, and which is not a bad thing. That's still a very, very good MLS back line. But Luke, in the 74th minute, when you seen that, what's your take on the Andrew Privet red card?
Yeah, I mean, few key points here. First of all, I think it is a foul. He had his arm around the back shoulder. I don't think he pulled down the player. So, in terms of intention and making a play on the ball, I don't think it comes in because he didn't actually have downward momentum. And you can see it in the replay. His arm muscles are not tensing downward. They're, if anything, slightly up. And so his pressure is not on the player at that point. So it looks like the San Jose player to me goes down on his own. But because Privet had his arm around the shoulder of that player, he's going to get that call. He's going to get that foul. Um, because it's in the box, I could see it going yellow. But the San Jose player is not playing the ball. He's not trying to shoot. So I can't. I like just cannot justify in my mind denial of a goal scoring opportunity when the San Jose player is pivoting his body outside and doesn't have an angle to play the ball, towards goal. I just like logistically, I cannot make that make sense in my head. Now, because it's in the box, it can qualify as a red card, and that's what was given on the pitch. So as college football fans, we look at college football instant replay, and the question is always, is there enough evidence to overturn the call on the field? And looking back at this replay, like I said, if you look at the way his muscle is not engaging, he's not actively putting weight on the player just goes down on his own. That's all well and good, but it's such a minute detail that I didn't see enough evidence in the replay to overturn the call on the field. Whether that call had been no foul, yellow, or red, I don't think there was enough evidence in any direction to overturn it. So it just kind of defaults back to the ref's call on the pitch. And it's unfortunate because Privet is, I call him the Terminator. He's really good at moving his body in and around the attacking players to neutralize opportunities exactly like this. And one of his moves I pointed out time and time again is that kind of swim arm over move, and that's kind of what gets him in trouble in this situation where he's trying to get that momentum on the player. And that ball would have been safely into Kalina, more likely than not, if the San Jose attacker had stayed on his feet. So Privet has such a great track record of doing this type of movement and not drawing the foul that it's just bad luck it happened. The San Jose player went down on his own and Privet gets called for it, but it is what it is. That kind of thing happens sometimes. But yeah, I could not see them challenging this to the league. The chance you would win it is so low that I don't think it would be worth it. Better to just accept your punishment and move on. So
Yeah.
that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah, and I mean, I agree. I think, like I said, there's a real question right now, Luke, with this fan base and with what happened Saturday, with Doumbia at left back.
Yeah.
It's going to be difficult with the performance that he had and how good he looked, specifically kind of unlocking Zaha on that left side and
Yep.
his ability to get forward with Tim Ream out there. I've seen it floated that Dumbia starts the left back, Andrew Privet drops to the bench, and Tim Ream is the new center back on the left side with Adilson. And I personally, I don't know, man. I don't see how, if Doumbia comes in and plays like that regularly and consistently, how he can sit the bench. I don't see it because I like Tim Ream, don't get me wrong. I like what he can do. I like his calmness and his leadership on and off the field. I like that. However, Andrew Privet and Addison Malanda have been a part of this back line and have looked really, really good when they play together. What is your take on this, man? How do you see this playing out with Doumbia coming in and having such a good showing in his debut?
Yeah. I mean, we keep coming back to the original sin of the summer transfer window last year. We missed out on our prime target and saw that Tim Ream was available, and we had an in, and we're able to get Tim Ream, so they pulled the trigger. But he was surplus to requirements. We already had Ronan, who was doing amazing. Tim Ream is not going to come in and be a depth piece. We had Privet, who plays too good. You can't justify benching him. So you had two, strong first team starters, and they went with Ronan as the piece to switch out for Tim Ream. But Tim Ream's not a left back, so he's playing out of position, and that's hurt us in some of the attacking buildup. And now I think you're going to see, one version of an optimum back line for the Colorado game because you're going to have Tim Ream at center back and you're going to have Solomon Doumbia out at left back, and we're going to have a true left back for the first time this season, while we have Tim Ream on the roster. So we'll see how that goes. Once Privet comes back, until further notice, I think we're still going to roll with the original back line. And you're going to see Privet and Tim Ream out at left back. But as the fixture congestion gets busier and busier, I think you're going to see more rotation at that left back position, especially with Tim Ream, being in his mid 30s, just like me. He might need a little bit of a breather. I don't think you're going to see Suarez play all the time for Miami. We're certainly not seeing Messi play all the time for Miami. So I think kind of spelling Ream and giving Doumbia some more time would certainly make sense right now. We'll see how he does against Colorado. I think he's right back in the starting 11 next week.
Yeah, no, I agree. You know, well, let me just save it. But Luke, for this match, who gets your Crown of the Day award?
Oh, great question. So, man of the match, Pep Biel. I think my crown of the day has got to go to a combination. I'm going to say West Woodico because Brodico and Westwood getting goals. I can't break up that duo, that goal scoring duo. It's got to be those two guys, the captain and the fan favorite, the heart of the team, Brant Bronico. That's my joint crown of the day. Anytime you see those guys score, they got to be crown of the day. And we, what's better than one? It's two. So I'm going with Ashley Westwood, Brant Brodico. Ashley Westwood had a great game. Brodico played really hard throughout. The kind of performances you love to see. We neutralized San Jose for the entire match, and you know, Ashley Westwood, he didn't rip off his kit to celebrate, but I forgive him for it. Crown of the day. Brant Bronico did rip off the kit, and that deserves a crown on its own. Love to see it. How about
Yeah,
you? How about you, Cole?
yeah. I mean, look, man, it's hard to argue with either one of those. That they're both really, really good shouts. Yeah, and obviously Pep, playing at 9.1 and doing what he did, man of the match. I mean, I think the obvious answer is Pep. But we try to be different, and we try to be just be a little fun here. And so I'm gonna be every part. I'm gonna do the same thing as you did. I'm gonna think. I'm gonna say that Doumbia, just because of the debut and how well he played, I'm gonna give him one. But I'm going to also give one to his counterpart on the right side, Nathan Byrne, man. Nathan
Okay.
Byrne was really, really good this match. Played a 7.9 on Foot Mob. He was 100% in duels, 4 for 4, one interception, 5 recoveries, 5 clearances, one headed clearance, and just was, I mean, absolutely. And defensively, he was the top rated player for Charlotte FC. Passing wise, he had 69 touches, which was only behind Christian Kalina in 78. And he had 2 chances created, 8 passes into the final third, 3 4 and accurate crosses at a 75% clip, and was just really, really good, man. I've been so impressed with Nathan last year. This year, he continues to impress. Again, I'm going to give a crown to Nathan. I think he played really, really well this match, and yeah, I hope to see it continue. As like I said, Charlotte FC is going to be going out to Colorado this coming Saturday, March 29th at 4:30. So keep that in mind. It's a 4:30 kick, and yeah, Charlotte has historically struggled out in Colorado. Even when Colorado were cellar dwellers, we still struggle. A lot of people do because of the altitude, and you hear all this. But I think Charlotte's just significantly better, and I think Charlotte should come out of there with 3 points. As we know, it's a lot more easier said than done on the road in MLS. But I think Charlotte, the way they're playing and having Big Pat back, and then obviously with the spark of Doumbia, I'm intrigued to see how he plays again. A very, very interesting matchup, Luke. Anything else you want to say about this match before we move on?
No, I mean, I think you pretty much covered it. Once again, Toklamati would be right up there for me. When you win 4-1, there's going to be a lot of positives about the game.
Right.
So, I'm not leaving out Kerwin Vargas. We talked about him earlier. He got a goal. I think, him scoring has got to be great for his confidence. I would like to see
Yeah.
him, continue to work on the crosses, but in the open field of play, in transition, in attacking build-up play, I really like Kerwin Vargas. I think he gives us a great option on the wing. You look at Zaha on the other side. We talked about it after the game. If you had if you had told either one of us before this match that we'd score 4 goals and none of the goals or assists came from Wilfred Zaha, would you have believed it?
No.
And
No.
he's not directly responsible for these 4 goals, but he did a lot of work that contributed to probably each one of these goals. His play and drawing the other team creates spaces and openings for other players. So this is by no means a down game for Zaha. Excuse me. Sorry. And one thing I continue to see with Zaha is that no matter what the situation is in the game, he never stops wanting to score at every opportunity. So,
Yep.
you know, like I said, everybody played well. The back line, outside of that one moment from Andrew Privet, outside of the, I think it was a corner kick or a cross that came in for the Chicho Arango header, where he, in all fairness, should have probably scored that. And it just went, on top of the net. But that header was beautiful. And that would have been a rocket. It just needed to be about a foot lower. So, positioning on that cross and then on the Andrew Privet situation were probably the only 2 defensive mistakes that I saw. The rest of the game was just solidly Charlotte dominating. And if you haven't watched the progression on the first goal that Pepiel scored, go back and like on SofaScore, you can press play and it'll show you the progression of the ball, and it zigzags up the left side between Doumbia and Zaha, and then gets chipped in from Bronico, I believe, into Pepiel in the box. But it was beautiful build-up play from Doumbia and Wilfred Zaha. So that was my goal of the day. I just absolutely love the progression in the build-up that led to the chance, and Pepiel just being in the right place at the right time. A layered attack, and that's what we've been missing. We talk about like attacking players on an island all by themselves with no outlet. I didn't see that today. Like, no matter where the attacking players were, we had other players staggered behind them off to the sides. We had options and outlets and layered attacking play. So I thought that was a beautiful thing, and that's what I wanted to see this game.
Yeah, and I mean, you can Matthew Doyle. I know everybody's got their opinions on Matthew Doyle, but he posted on Twitter that goal you're speaking of, and I mean, it's technically an unassisted goal, but if you watch the build up play and the movement off the ball and on the ball, I mean, what he was saying, he said that he thinks that's the best Charlotte FC goal that he's seen in their existence. I don't know about that, but it was a phenomenal goal.
I think you were saying the
And
best team goal, like the whole
yeah,
team built it.
best team.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
whole
yeah.
team built that one up.
Um,
We had one goal last season where I think everybody on our team touched the ball during the possession before we scored. So I think we have done a little bit better, but just the buildup on the left wing was spectacular.
yeah, let's talk about Patrick Ajimong and Tim Ream for just a second. They were called up to the U.S. men's national team for the Nations League semifinals against Panama, which did not go well
Woof.
for the U.S. men's national team, and they got beat 1-0 in stoppage time. And Big Pat did come on and had a couple of chances. One that he probably should have put away. Realistically, it's one that he puts away 9 times out of 10. He just hit it right at the keeper. And then he had another opportunity from Christian Pulisic where the ball was it was a rocket to him, and he tried to do the best he could, but it went over the bar. And they get beat, and it's an absolute disaster. Once again, being put out of a competition by Panama like they did in the last tournament they played. What was the Copa America?
Yeah,
And now today we're recording this Sunday night. It's after Charlotte. It's after US plays Canada in the third place match, Luke, and get thumped 2-1. But Big Pat does get a goal. Diego Luna for the US was absolutely phenomenal today. Other than him and Big Pat's goal, just atrocious, man. Just absolutely laughable.
yeah. I mean, I've been a Diego Luna fan since I became aware of him and started seeing him play. So you won't be able to convince me that whoever the manager for the US is next year, they can leave him off of the roster because I think Diego Luna is essential for this team. And like Poch said last year about Diego Luna, big balls. Love that guy. He had like a broken nose in a game and just stuffed it full of tampons and went back on the field. I mean, you just gotta love the energy coming off that kid. He's phenomenal. So yeah, he perfectly set up and kind of just laid the goal on a plate for Ajman. And to his credit, Ajman converted. Wasn't a beautiful goal by any means, but that leaves Patrick Ajman as the only goal scorer in Nations League this year. And for this year with the U.S. national team, Ajman has scored 3 goals in his first 4 starts, or his first 4 appearances, one of only a handful of U.S. players to ever do that. 3 goals in 2 starts, a total of 170 minutes played. So he's averaging over a goal and a half per 90. Tremendous, goal scoring rate there. And we can talk about the levels of competition, but I mean, this Canada team is good. This is a physical team, and they absolutely could have and perhaps should have beat Mexico in the semifinal. So this is a definitely a tournament winning level Canadian team, and I can't take anything away from them. They were much more physical than the U.S. The passion, I mean, they showed up to play. They cared, and I did not necessarily see that out of the U.S. team. I know
Yeah,
that we're,
and
yeah,
I want to say, look, I just want to jump in. I want to say, you know, yeah, it was a great run by Weah, ball into Luna. Luna with great vision, just kind of hold back to Pat. Not the greatest shot right at the keeper, just kind of gets lucky, honestly, and goes in between the keeper's legs, but they all count. Um, we had this talk with Vince from USMNT Thoughts after Copa America and US crashing out. And we all, me, you, and Vince, and I think the vast majority of the United States men's national team supporters were in full voice about wanting Greg Berhalter gone. And that's what the U.S. did. They got rid of him, brought in Mauricio Pochettino, who is a good coach. And that's what I want to say, man, is I this team, it just seems like they don't care. I don't know why. I don't know. I don't know if it's the coaching, man. Obviously, I don't think Greg Berhalter was the guy. I don't. I just don't. And he wasn't getting the most out of the players. Pochettino's not getting the most out of the players. You could say. At the same time, dude, we got a World Cup coming up next year. What What do you think, Luke? I just want to get your opinion on this. Obviously, this is a Charlotte FC podcast, but what is your opinion on this, man? How do you shake this up to where you got Christian Pulisic telling Poch, "I'm not coming off" in a third place match? You know that shows a little bit of pride, but at the same time, dude, Weston McKennie, Timmy Weah, uh, these players, Yunus Musa when he played against Panama, these players, they just, it's like our midfield and our back line today were just horrific. Against Panama, our midfield had no creativity whatsoever. And it's just, obviously, there's pieces missing in Serginho Dest and Balogun and Cordosa. But at the same time, dude, you should beat Panama. Like with the talent that's on this team, you should beat Panama. With the talent on this team, realistically, you should beat Canada. And they just look lackluster. I don't. What do we do, man? I mean, as a U.S. fan,
Yeah.
get me excited about the World Cup coming here because at this point, I mean, obviously, you got the Gold Cup coming up this summer that you can kind of see. You can get another tournament to see if there's been any strides made. If there's not, oh my God, the world's going to burn down. But what do you think, Luke?
Yeah, I mean, we all have feelings about Alexi Lawless, and I've talked to him. I've had a few conversations with him, and personally, I find him to be a really nice guy. You may disagree with him, but he has been around more aspects of U.S. soccer than just about any other individual that you can probably think of. And Alexi's had this point he's been making for years about calling this generation of players tattooed millionaires in a derogatory way. And I never really bought into it. Even last year with firing Greg and everything that we had wanted to do for so long, I was still reluctant to put it on the players. Um, the one outlier that I can point to, and I say this not tongue in cheek at all. I honestly emotionally feel that BJ Callahan was the best coach I've seen for the US national team in my lifetime. And I miss BJ, I really do. And we're playing Nashville in a few weeks. And if I could just like dap up BJ, that would be absolute goals for me. I love that dude. And I thought he really did get the best out of the players for his tenure. And oh, by the way, he has a CONCACAF Nations League trophy to show for it. So, I think some of it is coaching. I think some of it is culture. And when I say culture, I'm not talking about just in the locker room, but the culture of the players themselves. We have a system in the USA of pay to play where these kids come from, kind of rich, entitled families. They have rich, entitled upbringings. This is not the scrappy US men's team of the 90s where they're blue collar guys, they're working for a living and soccer is their trade. Like this is a team of tattooed spoiled millionaires,
Yeah,
and Patrick
yeah, and
Ajman, who is that guy. And that's part of why we like him so much, I think. Charlotte FC fans, even if you don't know his background, even if you don't know his story, you watch him on the pitch and he's always smiling. And you know what it is, Cole? It's gratitude. He is grateful to be on the pitch because he came up in East Hartford, Connecticut, man. Tough area, tough neighborhood. And soccer literally played his way out of his upbringing onto the world stage. He has that American dream, that American story. He has that motivation, and he gives so many more fucks than the other players out on the pitch. And you can just see it. And people react to that. People want that. Now, Christian Pulisic, I don't like him playing more centrally. I want to see him out on the wing. And with a player like that, you give him freedom where he can drift in and out. But playing him centrally as a cam, I think it's worth experimenting. But this is right before the World Cup. We don't have much time to experiment.
Yeah,
I'm not super crazy about that decision, but I understand where it's coming from. The rest of these players, though, man, Diego Luna is a fucking baller. He's gonna get after it. Like I would run through a wall. That's the kind of guy you want as a teammate because you know he's giving it 110% every game. Patrick Ajiman, amazing. I have a big question about Matt Turner in goal because I think he's the
yeah,
best goalie on the roster, and I think he should be our starter. But he's not getting playing time at Crystal Palace, so I don't know what to do in goal. I would have liked to see Zach Steffen in goal for this match. I understand he was under the weather, but I mean, I don't know what the answer is because we should not have lost to Panama. It wasn't Ajiman's fault that Poch didn't start him. If he had played 65, 70 minutes, statistically, based on his performance this year for the U.S. team, he would have scored if you played him 60 or 70 minutes. They played him for 25, and he still could have, saved this opportunity for the U.S. He created more opportunities in 25 minutes than Josh Sargent did in 65. But Matt Turner allowed that goal. That's the reason Panama won, was that they scored. And
yeah,
I believe it was their only shot on target of the game. And he was
yeah. It
just
was.
out of position. That's tough. That's tough.
Yeah.
This team,
Look,
like the
Luke.
back line, has looked terrible. I don't know what the answer is, but I think you got to keep Walker Zimmerman and keep all your options on the table with that back line because what I'm seeing out there is not doing it. I love Cameron Carter Vickers. Like that's the kind of guy I want on my team. I don't know if he's a starter for the U.S. team right now. I would rather see, some other options, but I love CCV, obviously.
Yeah, and I mean, Luke, today's match, the highest rated player for the U.S. on FootMob was a 7.0, and that was Big Pat.
Yeah.
Diego Luna, the 6.8. Timmy Weah, 6.4. Pulisic, 6.2. McKinney, a 5.5. Matt Turner, a 5.8. Joe Scally, 6. Tyler Adams, 6.2. Max Arfson, 5.3. This defense is just horrific, man. They got to look. If you're not going to be able to be very creative attacking, you damn well better be good defensively and have a good back line and have good structure and be very, very, very physical. And that is not this back line. Carter CCV is very physical,
Right.
but technically with the other members of this back line, McKenzie and Scally and Arfston in this match, obviously, again, like I said, you're missing some players. Serginho Dest, if he's healthy, he's going to be playing. He's
Yep.
a really, really good left back.
Jedi
Um,
Robinson.
I say Jedi, you're missing some key pieces. So I want to keep that in perspective. But that doesn't mean anything about this attack, man. When you have Christian Pulisic, who we all know what he is, they mentioned it a million times today, and the game against Panama, he's got the docu series on Paramount Plus. For somebody who's still in their playing career and hasn't done nothing but win some nations leagues with the U.S. and a Gold Cup with the U.S. I mean, I don't understand that, and that goes into the culture you're talking about of hyping these players up. Yeah, Weston McKennie and Timmy Weah play at Juventus. Yeah, Tyler Adams plays at Bournemouth. Yes, Christian plays at AC Milan. But dude, what? Why is the two MLS guys and Diego Luna and Patrick Agyemang scoring your goal and looking the most creative?
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense to me, dude. Like it's, I agree with Alexi, and it's tattooed millionaires, dude. It's almost like and the pay to play thing, dude. I don't want to get started on it because it's absolutely laughable. If there's a pay to play in Argentina or in Brazil, you wouldn't have Lionel Messi. You wouldn't have, you know what I'm saying? So like, it's a dumb thing, man. Just because you don't have money, I can't tell you how many times where I live and where I grew up in South Carolina is a predominantly Hispanic population, and it's not a very very rich population. It's a very poor population. But dude, you go out on the pickup fields and you go watch some of these kids play,
Yeah.
and it's just and you're missing out on talent like that because they can't pay to play, and it's just stupid. Well, Luke, you got anything else on this, man, or you want to put a bow on it so we can jump to the U.S. Open Cup?
Yeah, let's move on. I mean, I will say today Carolina Ascent with a big 4-0 win versus Lexington. So it's not just Charlotte FC, but the ladies over at Ascent are putting up some fireworks as well. I think that was the most impressive offensive performance of the season for them. We've been saying they need more goal scoring creation, and we saw that today against Lexington on the road. So great win for the Ascent. They'll be back here playing at home pretty soon. Independents have a game coming up Friday night, so be on the lookout for that. Crown Legacy on Wednesday. So this episode should drop either Monday or Tuesday. Wednesday night in Matthews, Crown Legacy versus Orlando B. That's what I got for kind of around the horn here, Cole.
Okay. Yeah, and I mean, obviously the U.S. Open Cup getting kicked off for USL teams, and the Greenville Triumph beat Asheville City, go 0-0 and go to penalties, all the way to penalties. The Triumph come out on top 4-3 in penalties. You were at a match I'll let you talk about here in just a second, Luke, but the Independents also advance in the U.S. Open Cup, and yeah, and you were at a match up in Boone, North Carolina, man. Tell me about that experience.
Yeah, it was really cool. I have a friend, another Celtics supporter out in California, and he buys into clubs around the country just to support local soccer, grassroots soccer. And one of those teams is Appalachian FC up in Boone. And so he just kind of messaged me and was like, "Hey, if you don't have plans, I got some extra tickets for this Open Cup game." And I kind of had it on my radar anyway. I was thinking about going up, but that cemented it. So me and the girlfriend took a drive up. She took a half day off of work, and we went up to Boone. Her family has a cabin, up in the mountains, kind of nearby. So we just made it a little overnight trip. That was her first U.S. Open Cup game, her first lower level soccer, semi-pro type venue. And dude, we had such a good time. It was if you guys haven't been to Boone, you have to go. It is picturesque up in the mountains, having a 7:30 kickoff. The sun was setting over the mountains, in the background of the field. It was just beautiful. What an experience. The fans were amazing. Their supporters group, they have a mascot Sasquatch named Squatchy, and he was everywhere. I mean, absolute top tier mascot for me. There's a brewery near the stadium. You walk through a trail in the woods to get to the Appalachian soccer complex, and they split it with the college. So that was just a blast. Food truck alley. We met up with the Club 11 guys. If you have not yet followed us on YouTube and TikTok, it's at QCS Pod. If you jump on there, I got some interviews. I got a match experience vlog kind of thing, and then an interview with Club 11 about their mission to bring the pageantry and the history of U.S. soccer to the masses. So you got to check that out. Buy their magazine. They're great folks, and they're going to be going around to U.S. Open Cup locations as that competition goes on. So yeah, just high marks. One Knoxville actually got the win, 3-0. Appalachian almost had the most U.S. Open Cup goal I've ever seen, where the Knoxville keeper would come all the way out and they chipped the ball from about 40 yards and it missed the goal by just a breath. But my goodness, that would have been the most Open Cup goal I've ever seen in person in my life. The whole crowd was just waiting and waiting as that ball was in the air. It was quite a moment. Giant asterisk on this for Appalachian FC and all the other USL2, NPSL sides. Their season doesn't start until May. So these teams have been training from between 2 and 5 days from everything I've heard. So they've had almost no time together to meet each other, to practice, to get any chemistry, let alone a game plan. It's pretty much like, show up, shake hands, and suddenly you're in a game. So the schedule is definitely slanted against them, but it was a great experience. And these players are coming from all different backgrounds. I talked to two guys that are Division II soccer players at Coker University in South Carolina, and talked with another guy. He's the captain of the Barbados national team. So this kind of semi-pro experience, it's part of the pathway. It's part of the beauty of the U.S. game, and grassroots soccer is just I treasure it. I value it. I love going to these kind of games. Knoxville is a USL one team, so they're a professional side, and they're definitely on their way up. They're putting a lot of money into development and building their club the right way. So I had a long talk with their GM. He's I mean, just a good soccer dude, and he gets it. So high marks for Knoxville. I was very impressed. But the night was all about Appalachian, and it was just a celebration of soccer in that town after everything they went through last year with the hurricane. For that town to come out and support Appalachian FC was just a real treat. So high marks all around, and we have Charlotte Independence won up in Long Island in additional time. It was going towards penalty kicks, but Charlotte Independence got a goal to win it in the fog, terrible conditions. That game was tricky. It was on the ropes for a while, but they got the win. And Carolina Core on Thursday night, Carolina Core got the win to advance. So, I mean, good round of soccer in the Carolinas. Uh, Carolina Core will be visiting Charlotte Independence for the second round. That game will be at Matthews Sportsplex on April 1st. So we have that coming up. And then Cole, tell us about the Triumph.
Yeah, so obviously, like I said earlier, the Triumph advanced in penalties against Asheville City. They will play host to the aforementioned one Knoxville Wednesday, April the 2nd at 7 p.m. Like I said, in Greenville. Uh, and keep an eye out. We're talking about having a special preview episode of that with a special guest, which would be amazing for all our Triumph friends out there. And yeah, man, a big match. And yeah, and it won't be long, man. These MLS teams will be infiltrating, and I'd love to see the Triumph take on an MLS team. Got to watch them play Charlotte FC in Greenville a few years ago. I'd like to see the Independents take on an MLS team to get up there and actually show my face at a Charlotte Independence match. So yeah, man, my favorite cup competition for grassroots soccer in the U.S. and we're getting to the thick of it now.
Yeah, I asked Dean Smith about the U.S. Open Cup, and he said one of the goals of this team is to win trophies. That's a trophy, and he is a dyed in the wool supporter of the FA Cup in England. So he is a believer in cup competitions, and he wants to win it. Charlotte FC is going to put out a team uh, with the goal of winning this competition, and I love to see it. I hope there is a Charlotte derby between the two sides. But if it's not Independence, I'd like to see him play, Carolina Core or the Greenville Triumph. Let's keep it local. Charleston Battery,
Yeah,
even. Like the more Carolina soccer we get, the happier I'm going to be.
yeah, absolutely. And with the team that Charlotte has this season and the depth that they have and have built, this team, dude, with the Leagues Cup and the Open Cup, it's a short history for Charlotte. I understand that. This is your by far the best chance for Charlotte FC to get some silverware this season, man. They've set themselves up with Dean and Zoran. You got to give them credit where credit's due, man. That Charlotte is set up very very well this season. It's going to be an exciting season for Charlotte FC supporters, an exciting season for Independence and Triumph supporters. And yeah, man, we're here. We're in the thick of things. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at QCS Pod, Instagram at QCS Pod _, and then everywhere else at QCS Pod, YouTube, TikTok, all that good stuff. And yeah, we'll be keeping you up to date. If you enjoy the content, guys, please do share it and subscribe and like it. It helps us out tremendously. We appreciate all the support, and we do this for you guys. We love Charlotte FC. We love Carolina grassroots soccer, so that's why we're here. So yeah, please do support so we can continue to get this stuff out for you guys.
All right, cool. Well, that does it for me tonight. I think we did have a few listener questions and comments, but we can get to them on the next one. And for the folks, if they want to support us, like Cole said, go on Spotify or Apple, subscribe to the feed, rate it 5 stars, leave us a comment. If you leave us a comment on there in your review, we will put it up here on the show for sure. Um, Go to Twitter X/Blue Sky, whatever you prefer on there, and we're at QCS Pod. Give us a like and follow, and yeah, Instagram at QCS Pod _. So it's been quite a week of soccer. It's back in full swing. We have more U.S. Open Cup coming up. We have the game on the road against Colorado. And we'll try to get back to you guys this week. I'm going to do a U.S. Open Cup special and kind of recap everything. So if you've stuck around this long, I would still recommend listening to that. There's going to be a little bit more depth on some of these stories about these games, and I'll cover more of that competition and kind of lay out the structure of it. We have some talk with Dean Smith I mentioned. I'm going to play that clip for you guys. And we also have some interviews coming up with players for Crown Legacy, potentially Charlotte FC, Charlotte Independence. We're going to try to get somebody. Cole with Greenville Triumph. I think you've talked about getting somebody from over there.
Yeah.
Appalachian FC's GM wants to come on the show, so we're going to have Mike on here to kind of tell us about that club and why you should support the Sasquatches. Lots of good stuff, man. Lots of exciting stuff. I've applied for the soccer tournament again this year, so we're going to try to bring you second year of coverage from the tournament, the soccer tournament. But yeah, it's all good stuff, right?
Yeah, man. And just we're in the full swing. Just keep your eyes and ears open. Content bleeding out of the eyeballs, as they say, Luke. But yeah, I'm good. We'll catch y'all on another episode of the Queen City Soccer Show. And Luke, as always, it's for the crown.
For the crown.